What's going on, guys? Welcome to another Beyond Prosperous video. So excited that you're watching this video. Today, we're going to be talking about the power of self-awareness. What's going on, BP family? Welcome to another video. So today we're going to be talking about the power of self-awareness and understanding your strengths and your weaknesses. And so we want to do this because when it comes to us ultimately fulfilling our purpose and ultimately getting into that space where we know what we want, we're trying to get on this journey and we're trying to do the things that we know that we need to do in order to achieve the things that we want. This is one of the places that we need to really dig into. And so in this journey of potential to purpose, this falls in potential and this falls up under identity. When we are talking about being self-aware, this is what we're talking about. So let's go ahead and jump right in. So when we're talking about being self-aware, self-awareness is the ability to recognize and understand your own emotions, behaviors, and personality traits. All right. It is an important skill to have both for your personal and professional life, as it allows you to better understand your strengths and your weaknesses. And so when it comes to this self-awareness, the first thing that I want you to know is that you have to recognize your reality. So that is number one. Recognize your reality. And what I mean by that, recognize your reality. See where you actually are. Assess where you actually are. The process of self-awareness is sometimes pretty simple. It's literally saying, okay, this is what I think. This is where I actually am. And the reason that this is so important is because when we don't actually assess where we are, now we're building on a shaky foundation. And so we're building many times on a place where we're not actually. It's not based on reality. And so what I mean by that is that if you are here and you're acting like you're here, you will ultimately have to come back to the foundation before you move forward and achieve your goals. And so when you understand where you are, it's one direction. Boom, you're going straight forward. You know what you want. You know exactly what it is. You know exactly where you are in your life. And you know how you basically know the direction that you're trying to go. And so without actually understanding and recognizing your reality, you can try to build a life based on something that's not necessarily true, right? So let's jump into number two. So understanding your strengths and your weaknesses is crucial because it helps you to identify areas where you excel and areas where you excel and areas where you may need to improve. And so many of us, we already know different spaces that we are doing good things in, different spaces where it's easy to achieve our goals or it's easy to do something good. And so we have to understand that understanding our strengths and weaknesses, it helps us to do that. And by leveraging your strengths, you can optimize your performance and achieve your goals more effectively. So when you're focused on your strengths, you're ultimately actually able to achieve things better because it's your strengths. And then it says that on the other hand, by acknowledging your weaknesses, you can work to improve in those areas and develop new skills that will help you succeed. And so realize your resources. So that's number two. Let's do that better. So number two, realize your resources. So we want to recognize our reality. And then we want to realize our resources. So when you realize your resources, you are assessing what are my strengths, what are my weaknesses. And when you do this, you want to build a life that is more around your strengths than your weaknesses. So when you build a life that's more around your strengths than around your weaknesses, now you become more effective. Now you begin to see progress. Now you begin to see momentum. So when you are working and you're realizing your resources, build a life around your strengths. And when you do that, you optimize your life to actually engage in different opportunities that ultimately help you achieve your goals quicker. And it takes you on this journey much faster than building a life around your weaknesses. And what do I mean by building a life around your weaknesses? You need to know you. Self-awareness. You need to know what your weaknesses are and stop putting yourself in positions to have yourself be exposed and not in your strengths. And so when you are exposed in your weaknesses, now you don't look like the right person. When you're exposed in your weaknesses, now you don't look like a high valued person. But when you are walking in your strengths, and this is not like a motivational thing, but when you're walking in your strengths, people look at you and they're like, they are killing it. And it's not necessarily it's not because you are just overall phenomenal in everything, but you decided to walk in your strengths. And when you decide to walk in your strengths, it looked like everything else is fantastic. And when you build in your strengths, you build in momentum. And so when you're walking in your strengths, now the things that you need to build on, when those things that are weak, you can build them up under. And so again, like, basically, when you're walking in your strengths, you'll find different spaces in your life where it's like, okay, I need to improve this because it's a part of the future of my journey. And so what I mean by that is that you may have, for instance, if you're creating a YouTube channel, like first you have to be able to speak on camera. You have to be able to communicate. And then from there, it's like, okay, I have a weakness with saying and And so it's like, okay, that's a weakness. Let me figure out how to fix that. Let me figure out how to strengthen that and be able to better communicate. And so it's not necessarily living in a weakness, but it's a part of the strength. If you are good at being on camera and that's what you need to do in order to achieve the things that you're trying to do, then actually, basically lifting that weakness up and making it a strength is going to be helpful for you. So let's move on to number 3. So self-awareness also helps you better understand your own emotions and reactions. By understanding your emotional triggers, you can better manage your emotions and communicate more effectively with others. This can help you to build stronger relationships both personally and professionally. And so when you are able to understand why you feel what you feel, you'll be able to communicate more effectively. And with this is re-engaging relationships. So that's number 3. Re-engaging your relationships. And the reason and why I say re-engaging is because when you are self-aware of the things of why you're feeling the way that you feel, you'll better be able to articulate to whoever you're speaking to why you're feeling what you're feeling. And again, it's not just about emotions. It's about everything. And so if you are frustrated with this particular person, but you know that they are in your life, it could be a parent, it could be a cousin, it could be a brother or a sister, like these people that are going to be in your life, they are family, they are blood. And it's like, okay, I want to build this relationship and I want to build it back better. You have to be able to re-engage in those relationships. So when you understand yourself, you better position yourself to re-engage in those relationships more easily. And even in the professional level, in your career, in your journey with your boss or with your coworkers, you'll be able to actually communicate effectively, understanding that you don't have to get upset about everything. Everything is not worth your time. It's not worth getting upset about. But when you are able to be self-aware of those things that trigger you, now you can point them out. You can say like, that hurt in yourself. You like, that hurt, and brush it off. But you like, because I know better, because I know myself enough to know that if I dwell on this, then I'll react in the wrong way. So that'll take us to the next point. All right. So in addition to self-awareness, self-awareness can also help you identify opportunities for growth and development. By understanding your own strengths and weaknesses, this can help you stay motivated, encouraged, and fulfilled in both your personal and professional life. All right. And so with that, it's recreate your response. Recreate your response. So why recreate your response? When you are self-aware, when you understand what makes you tick, now you don't just react to everything, but you respond and you create a totally different person. If before you had not recognized your reality, you hadn't recognized that you get upset sometimes about little things. You haven't recognized that sometimes you go a little overboard. You haven't recognized that when somebody says something, you pull all the way back. You haven't recognized that reality. And on top of that, you haven't built your life around your strengths. You haven't realized your resources. And so you don't know the relationships that are strong for you and building you up. And you don't realize relationships that are weak and that are tearing you down and pulling you down, and you're feeling like you're carrying all the weight in the relationship because you haven't been self-aware enough to truly dig in and dive in and see what are these things in my life that are good for me and what are these things in my life that are not helping me to be the person that I feel like I'm supposed to be. And when it comes to recreating your response, this is the question that I have for you. When was the last time you sat with yourself and you figured out what you thought? When was the last time you sat with yourself and you figured out what you thought about different things that are going on in your life? What does that look like? That means that when you're riding in your car, you turn off the radio, you turn off the podcast, you turn off the courses and the audio books, and you talk to yourself. You talk through different situations. You talk through different things. You talk to yourself about your relationship. You be genuine about your relationships. You talk to yourself about how you present yourself when it comes to your personal life and your professional life. Who do you desire to be? And how does that look? How does that really look in your life? You recreate your response. And so what that looks like for me is I'm going back to the Bible. I'm going back to biblical truth and seeing and trying to understand how am I supposed to respond in different areas of my life based on what God has said. And based on what God has said, it will give me the results that I desire, that I see in the Bible. And so if there is one thing that God has said, and it says that when you do this, it produces these results, I can count on that. And so when your life, what are some things in your life that you must identify, that you must shift in order to get the results that you're trying to get in your life that aligns with the identity? And this journey right here, it takes you from point A to point B, achieving your goals and doing the things that you feel like you're called to do. And so that is what I want you to, that is the power of self-awareness, being able to reevaluate, re-engage with yourself in order to get and respond and do the things that you're supposed to do. And so if you like this video, make sure you hit the like button. If you're not subscribed yet and you want to hear more content, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I will see you in the next video.